In July 2023, we left Australia after living there for over 15 years. Now, the idea was to take a gap year to create time for ourselves so that we can build our freedom-based online business and essentially create a time and location independence for ourselves.
So having completed this 1 year, we had an important decision to make. Do we continue or do we return back to Australia? And the answer for us was, we shall continue. And in this video, we're going to talk about our reasons why, and watch till the very end because some of our learnings could be very beneficial to you on your particular journey.
For those who don't know us, we are Nabeel and Zenesta, a location-independent family with the simple goal of creating a freedom-based online business while we slow travel the world.
Just over a year ago, we seemed to have the perfect life. Settled in a Western country, a house in the suburbs, high-paying jobs, and a pretty good social circle. But the reality of it was that we were quite burnt out from stressful jobs, from living paycheck to paycheck, even though we had a pretty good salary. And overall, we were simply unhappy. But we knew this life would not get any better if we didn't do things differently.
So we had to be creative because if we left our corporate job, it was impossible to maintain the cost of living while living in Australia. So we designed an adult gap year based on the concept of currency hacking, where you earn in higher currency value and you spend in lower currency value. Now, this took about close to half a year of planning, both logistically and financially.
This was our solution to the problems we had in Australia. The lack of time needed to invest in our business, the rising cost of living, and our constant longing to travel the world. But we had some challenges ahead of us. We are in our late 30s and we have a toddler. And on top of that, this was not a popular decision because we were going against the status quo. And from the outside, it seemed like we were throwing away everything we had built over so many years. So that's why we ring-fenced it. In order to avoid us from becoming overwhelmed, we said, let's do it for a year and then we will see what we do from there.
So having completed 1 whole year of travel and traveling all over Southeast Asia, we have decided to continue travel. And without further delay, let's get into the reasons why we decided that. During the last 1 year while traveling, we have reduced our cost of living by 2/3 of what we used to spend in Australia. And this was only possible because we made the move from an expensive Western country to Southeast Asia, where we leveraged the value of our currency, which is the Aussie dollar.
But we did not compromise on our standard of living. In fact, in some cases, it actually went up, such as our daughter's schooling. She went to international quality preschools. Our location, we lived close to all the amenities in Expat locations and the services and convenience that you get, such as ride shares, fast delivery services, and cleaning of the house. Some of these which may seem like a luxury in Western countries.
And the other thing that I really enjoyed was that when I was in Indonesia, we could keep a nanny for Yara, which I was never able to afford in Australia.
And we came to the conclusion that while living in Western countries has its merit, overall, the value for your money is nowhere there anymore. We recently did a video where we compared the cost of living in Australia versus Southeast Asia. We'll link it for you over here in the description. If you do want to have a look at it after the video, you're most welcome to do so.
So when we were in our corporate jobs, though we were progressing and our salaries were increasing, we really didn't have that personal growth. We felt that we weren't learning any monetizable skills should we get out of job.
But in the last 1 year, we learned some amazing skills because we were working for ourselves, and a lot of them seemed like we were learning from scratch, such as filming and editing and social media and even monetizing the skills through the form of consultancy. It's almost that feeling that you get when you start a brand new job or start a brand new career. And we haven't felt this alive for so long.
And not only that, we became much more resilient and we became much more quick in our decision-making skills.
For example, we have been living in each country for around 2 to 3 months. So effectively, you're finding deals around accommodation, our daughter's schooling, flights, gym memberships, co-working spaces, everything. And you keep doing that over and over again. And this was only possible because we became minimalists. So I think overall, our ability to become flexible, make decisions quickly, that has increased a lot compared to a very stable and a bubbled life that we had in Australia.
And I guess if you were to draw a graph of our personal growth individually, you would see that for the past 10 years, it was like this. And then all of a sudden in the last 1 year, it was way up there. So can't complain. The other thing that we realized very quickly is that our online businesses need much more time.
We've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, and over the years, on top of our jobs, we have always tried to do different side hustles. And in this latest gig, when we decided to start and put all our efforts into creating an online freedom-based business, we took content creation as our vehicle. Now, we were starting from zero because we had no experience in this, so it was a very steep learning curve.
We knew that the first year is all about learning the skills, learning the ropes of the game, and only in the last quarter of that year is when we started monetizing our skills.
Obviously, it's nowhere near our corporate incomes that we had, but then again, that took years, over 10 years for us to get to that point, whereas over here, as we've started, it's just been a year, so we have to give it a little bit more time.
I think we have never been motivated more than now, where we have given ourselves a goal that we want to replace all our corporate income with online income. When we were in Australia, we necessarily didn't like the kind of human being we are turning into because we were very burnt out, very stressed out. Relationship was not working in terms of connection, and really we didn't have the breathing space to look into ourselves and build ourselves as individuals.
Because we were living such a life of autopilot, it's very much your Groundhog Day doing the same thing over and over again. So we really didn't have the space or the time to actually think otherwise. So when we started this, for the first 3 months, it was quite challenging because a lot of things that were inside bubbled up and we had to navigate through that. And as far as our daughter is concerned, we were worried that, these changes and constant shifting around countries, changing schools would really impact her negatively. And that's why we thought we'll try it for 1 year. But to our surprise, we have found that she has thrived under these conditions and she's become more resilient than us. And she understands the concepts of what makes us different and also what makes us unique and same at the same time. The West is not always the best. High cost of living, low disposable income, very high taxation, spending lots of hours on the road traveling, and the list goes on. But that's what we've been sold, the idea of the American dream, the Australian dream, or in other words, the Western dream. But keeping that in mind, we realized that a lot of people are actually missing out on great opportunities by living this life of location independence because they're still stuck. They're stuck mentally, they're stuck physically, and they just feel like, this is the only way they have till the rest of their lives.
And once you get the property, you're stuck in the mortgage. Once you get the credit card, you want to increase your standard of living. And obviously, majority of the people don't end up paying up their credit cards, and it's like a loop in a cycle that you need to do the job to get the money. And it's not about living, but working to live.
But when we spend this time in Southeast Asia, a lot of our preconceived notions has been broken. We used to think that, Southeast Asia might be a little bit backward, but in a lot of cases, they are quite advanced, especially around technology, usage of technology and resilience of people. And it's just like it opens your eyes to a lot more possibilities and value for money. And lastly, coming from a South Asian background, somehow we just quite connected to the lifestyle and values in Southeast Asia. And that's just something that, we just want to continue for a little bit longer.
So what's the point of this video? Why are we doing this? It's for the purpose that if you want to design a life of your own, which follows the rules of your own terms, then obviously you need to be creative and you need to think differently.
And there is no hard and fast rules. Everyone is different. Everyone's circumstances changes. So the question is more around having that awareness and realizing that, okay, if I don't make a move, if I don't make changes, my life would pretty much stay the same. Now, if you're somebody who loves living where you are, who loves your job, then it's all good. Best of luck with that. But it's really for people who, do not necessarily like where they are today, but they still feel stuck or they feel like, they don't really have an option out. For us, we've done this for 1 year and we're doing it for another. What the future holds for us, we don't really think about it as much as we used to before. Maybe we might strive for some stability, especially for our daughter and, to some extent for ourselves, but we will see when we cross the bridge on that.
So we could be traveling, we could settle for a little longer period of time and have a home base. Time will tell.
That's all from us today. Hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful. In the meantime, go and watch this other video that we did around why we just left Australia after 15 years. We have our personal reasons there.
And do not forget to subscribe to this channel because it helps us to continue to make good videos like this for you.
See you in the next video.
Bye-bye.